world's leading zoos and aquariums are racing to save animals from extinction.
Well, Matthew, I'm so excited to be talking to you today. I got the opportunity to see Escape from Extinction, and not only did I learn so much, but it was so amazing to see how these animals are cared for and what it takes to keep them still in our population. So talk to me a little bit about the documentary and how it became this project of yours.
Well, the crisis that's going on in the moment with all the other crises in the world is that there's 1 million of the 8 million species are on the verge of extinction, which is a crazy number. And so if we don't step in and start to help them right now, these animals, we're in trouble, we're in big trouble. And every animal is so important because they affect all the other animals and everything's connected. And that was the thing that I learned so much about in making this film. It's like, you think of this little tree frog, it's like, well, why does that tree frog matter? It's like, well, that tree frog eats all the insects that attack your 4th of July picnic. So we lose this one frog, your barbecues might be ruined, or whatever the scenario is that you're affected by. So we wanted to just shine a light on all the hard work that zoos and aquariums are doing to save animals from extinction.
I'm terrified of sharks, and I learned from your documentary that's probably because of all the propaganda that's been, or do we just directly blame Steven Spielberg for Jaws?
He's part of it. I mean, what an amazing film, but yeah, he's in trouble with us. No, the shark thing is terrible. I mean, 100 million sharks are killed every year, and I had to just check the other night. I had to Google that again because I was like, did I make a mistake in the documentary? That just seems like an impossible number. But of course, there's little sharks as well. We're not just talking about great whites. And people are afraid of animals that are essential to our ecosystem. And sharks are a keystone species, which I don't know if it's a word you already knew. It's something I learned a lot about in making this film. But there are certain animals that affect their ecosystem in such a major way that if you take them out of the ecosystem, the entire ecosystem collapses. And sharks are one of those animals. So we have to learn how to love the shark, and we have to learn how to love the wolf, and these animals that we heard Big Bad Wolf, and we heard of Jaws, and we spent our entire life being afraid of these animals, but they're so important to the ecosystem.
Yeah, I found that part fascinating too when you were exploring Yellowstone. And you don't just stay in America. I love that this is global. I mean, you're looking at the way that it affects the entire, global climate with the animals. And you checked in with a lot of experts and a lot of zoos. Talk to me about, the extensive research that was done.
Well, we started in the Canary Islands at this facility called Loro Park. And Loro means parrot for your Spanish listeners. And so we talked about, they had saved 10 species of parrots from extinction. And this little parrot that you see in the movie Rio they were down to the last couple. And there's so many that are extinct in the wild. So what this zoo facility does is they take these animals, they breed them in human care, and then they slowly start to release them into these habitats. But the problem is everybody in their own mind has this beautiful theory that let's just let all the animals go and let them go free. But the problem is you have to fix the problems in nature first. So if you release a beautiful endangered parrot to an ecosystem that has people that are kidnapping animals for the pet trade, they won't last a day there. Or there's poachers, with the rhinos and the elephants and some of these bigger majestic animals, there's poachers. Or there's droughts. So that was the biggest thing I learned from this film. We have to solve the problems in the ecosystem first before we can actually help these animals and release them. And while we're trying to figure out how to solve these problems, we can keep them in safe, great zoos and aquariums.
Well, that was one of the things that I found fascinating. I'm a big fan of the zoo and wild animal park here in San Diego. We're pass holders. We, try to contribute to help with saving the animals and their lives. But I think there's a lot of misinformation, and people don't understand how much, conservation and education and purposeful breeding that goes on. So maybe talk a little bit about the importance of zoos and aquariums.
Well, we shot a lot of this at San Diego Zoo. Because some of the doctors and scientists that specialize in saving animals for extinction were having a conference there. So we were able to get a lot of the experts in the field. And that's really important, that we need to listen to scientists, we need to listen to doctors, we need to listen to the people that are dedicating their lives to saving animals from extinction. We don't need to listen to Tiger King. And that show did so well, which is wonderful. But those aren't the people, those aren't the zoos that we're talking about in this film. There are bad zoos, but we have to not conflate a good zoo with a bad zoo. And specifically because you mentioned San Diego, like they're on their game there. And when they were talking about saving animals, like you go around and you can talk to the different ambassadors and learn all the wonderful things they're doing. They have hundreds of programs in other countries that they're saving. One of the programs we talk about is this Ratiti Elephant Sanctuary. So by you going to San Diego Zoo and buying a soda or buying a stuffed animal, that surplus money is going to help all these sanctuaries and facilities in other countries. So you don't even know how many animals you're helping just by going there. I signed up for a little program there where you just donate a little bit every month, and it helps these animals that are in need.
And I have to ask you, Helen Mirren, I mean, she's fantastic. She can do no wrong in my book. She could read bedtime stories. So to have her as a narrator is exquisite. How did you get her to come on and be part of the project?
We are so lucky. I wish there was some magical answer, but we asked her and she said yes is the simple answer. One of the first movies I worked on when I was a teenager moving out to California from Connecticut was a short film for Showtime that she was directing. And I had never heard of her at this point because I was, 20 years old and 19 or 20 years old. And it was her directorial debut and she did such a wonderful job. So when we wanted a global voice, because this is so important. It's not just a US problem, it's a global problem. And we loved her voice and we just asked her and she said yes. And so I don't know if she was helping a first-time filmmaker or because she cared about the planet or all of the above, but she was such a wonderful asset to have in this film.
I'm sure it was all of the above. And I love how that's kind of a full circle story, how, she got her start of directing and here you are, directing this film. So that's fantastic. So let's talk about how people can see it. We're privileged here in San Diego to have it be part of the San Diego Film Festival. Don't live here. It's going to go theatrical.
Mm-hmm. So all of the festivals are doing virtual this year, which has its pluses and minuses. So a lot of people are able to see the film that normally wouldn't, which is amazing if you couldn't get to San Diego. But of course, I'm disappointed that I can't come down to San Diego and meet all the other filmmakers and all of that. So they've created a wonderful virtual program. So you're able to log on and watch it. And it's actually Thursday. I think it's Thursday, like morning to afternoon. I think it's right around noon on Thursday, I think 11:30 a.m. And then we're going to do a Q&A with Dr. Robin Ganser, who's the president of American Humane, who's featured in the film, and Brad Andrews, who's the head of global conservation, who formerly worked at SeaWorld. So he has a lot of insight into all the work coming out of these facilities to save animals from extinction. And then Thursday afternoon, we are so lucky. We're actually opening in 120 theaters across the country. And the pandemic has created a void in theaters where there's not a lot of new content, and all the studio movies, Wonder Woman and the Marvel shows have all been getting canceled or postponed. So we've been able to open, and so we're opening. We're going to be playing in San Diego. We're going to be playing at the Sinopolis franchise. California is doing something really cool. They want people to be safe in theaters, so they're doing 25% capacity. And so a lot of these theaters only have 40 seats. So you're looking at 10 people at most in a huge theater that's been cleaned and all of that. So we're playing there. In San Diego, we're playing at the Landmark Hillcrest and the Angelica Carmel Mountain as well. And then we're playing in many cities. We're playing in Dallas and Denver and my home state of Connecticut, Providence, Rhode Island, Orlando. And we wanted a wide audience because it's so important. We have so much going on right now with politics and just Supreme Court hearings and all the stuff that's going on in the news, and everyone is forgetting about the animals. And once the animal's gone, they're not coming back. And it's just so important that we take the time. If you don't know what you're doing, that's okay. Most people don't know what they're doing. They go to a zoo and they take a picture of a giraffe and maybe they'll pay a little extra attention to giraffes at home. But count on the people that do know what they're doing.
Escape from Extinction. Coming soon.